Okay, I want to start a demo for the pate choux, and I'm going to start with the recipe on the back side of the sheet. You have this posted in the module, and I'll be making the recipe for Craquelin or Craquelin. You need to, if you are going to do this, this is optional, but if you're going to do this, you need to do it at least the day before you make the pate choux, because we need to mix this and roll it out and then freeze it so that we're able to cut out shapes and put them on top of the pate choux. So it's very easy. What I have here, I'm going to make it in a mixer, but a mixer is not required. You can certainly do this by hand. There's only 3 ingredients. I have butter that's at room temperature, brown sugar, and flour. I have a spatula to scrape the bowl, and then in addition, later on, I'm going to be rolling it out between silpat, and I'll show you that separately. So it's very easy. I'm going to put the softened butter in the mixer with the brown sugar and the paddle. And I'm going to mix this on low speed. This is not like a recipe for cookies where I'm going to be creaming it and trying to incorporate a lot of air. I'm just going to mix it so it's smooth and pasty. The brown sugar is a little bit lumpy, so you can kind of hear it clunking a bit. Okay. That's really all the further I need to mix it. There is a little bit of butter up on the paddle, so I'll scrape that down and mix it just a little bit more, and then I'll add the flour again on low speed. If you wanted to do this by hand, you could with a spatula or a wooden spoon. You just want to make sure that your butter is soft, and again, don't beat too much. Actually, I can just show you, I guess. I could show you as if you were making this by hand. A mixer is not necessary. I know some of you have mixers and some of you don't. So, just going to make sure that I get all that, the butter that I scraped down, mixed in. Looks like I have a few lumps of brown sugar. Okay. Now I'm just going to add the flour. And mix it in. All I'm doing is pressing it. against the side. It's kind of like a simple, like a cookie dough. And that's it. Okay, I'm making a half batch of the Craquelin, and a half batch is the amount you'd need for a quarter sheet. If you don't have silpat at home, this is a half sheet of silpat. You can certainly roll it in a half sheet. I'm just doing it on a quarter because of space limitations. So we're going to put it in between the silpat. If you don't have silpat, you can use parchment, kitchen parchment. And I made a half a batch, and a half a batch will be the amount that I'm going to roll between 2 quarter sheets of silpat. And I want to roll this real thin. I'm just going to squeeze it together. And then put another silpat or parchment on top and roll it. It's really not easy to roll unless you have it between something. You would have to add quite a lot of flour, and it would change the characteristic of this dough. As you can see, when I have it coming out from the ends, I can just cut it and put it back. So a full batch of the recipe that I have given you in the module is enough to make a half sheet of Craquelin or Craquelin. And so I made a half a batch, and that's what I can roll here between a quarter sheet. Don't worry about this too much. I'm just pulling it off because I have a couple little sections coming out. You can see I have my brown sugar was a little bit lumpy, so there are a few pieces, a few lumps showing up. Brown sugar, and I'm just about done. I want this to be pretty thin. You can kind of see how thin it is. I would guess if you were to measure it, it would be about maybe a 1/16 of an inch. Just try to get it so it's spread out more or less. And then once I'm done rolling this, I'm not going to open it again for you to see because it does tear itself apart as I pull the top off of the bottom. I'm going to put this on a pan so that it stays straight and put it into the freezer. The best thing to do is to do this the day before you're going to use it. If you're not sure, this is not a requirement to make pate choux, and if you're not sure if you should make it, you can just watch the video on the pate choux and you can see what happens, how you use this Craquelin. It makes kind of a crunchy top, and it actually helps the pate choux rise symmetrically. So you can see I have it, this amount fills up the entire half sheet. I don't want to open it again because it'll kind of tear up. So it's pretty much border to border on here. So I'm going to put it on a pan and put that into the freezer until tomorrow, and when I will demonstrate how to make the paste for the pate choux.